You may be familiar with a common ingredient in sunscreen called titanium dioxide. It's an additive that helps block the sun's harmful rays when used as directed. What you may not realize is that the chemical is turning up on many people's dinner tables as well. You might just see artificial color listed. It's been banned in food in the European Union since 2022, and some health groups here in the U.S. are raising concerns, even asking for the FDA to follow suit. Food makers use the ingredient to brighten the colors of some grocery items like mozzarella cheese, salsa, cake frosting. And you may not even be aware because these companies are not required to include titanium dioxide in the ingredients.
Elon Musk has always been outspoken about health, technology, and the hidden dangers in products that most people consume without a second thought. Recently, a shocking claim has circulated under his name: bottled teas. Yes, the seemingly harmless drinks many people grab off supermarket shelves may contain an ingredient that sounds like it belongs in paint, not in your body: titanium dioxide. While the mention of bottled tea might evoke images of antioxidants, natural herbs, and refreshing blends, the reality is that some popular brands use additives to improve appearance, shelf stability, or texture. One of the most controversial among them is titanium dioxide, a whitening agent that has stirred major concern in scientific and health communities worldwide. Musk's warning, whether you see it as cautionary advice or a wake-up call, is resonating with consumers who already worry about what goes into their daily drinks. Titanium dioxide, often listed as E171, is not a flavor enhancer, preservative, or sweetener. Instead, it is primarily used to brighten color and create a smooth, appealing look in food and beverages. It makes teas look clearer, creamier, or more visually uniform. On the surface, that may not sound too harmful. After all, the FDA in the United States has long allowed it in controlled amounts. But concerns have been mounting after scientific studies suggested that nanoparticles of titanium dioxide could accumulate in the body, potentially disrupting cellular functions, damaging DNA, and even increasing cancer risks. The European Union took a bold step by banning it as a food additive in 2022, citing safety concerns over long-term exposure. That action alone should have raised alarms for consumers elsewhere, yet many American and Asian products continue to use it. And bottled teas, marketed as healthy alternatives to soda, are not exempt. Imagine reaching for a bottle labeled green tea with honey, expecting a natural, wellness-boosting drink. Instead, hidden inside is a synthetic whitening agent that your body was never meant to process in high amounts. That disconnect is what makes Musk's alleged warning so striking. He's not talking about fast food or candy bars, but about drinks that many people buy thinking they're making a healthier choice. The irony is brutal. The same tea marketed with buzzwords like natural, refreshing, and antioxidant-rich may carry something that regulators in parts of the world consider unsafe. Why would bottled tea brands add titanium dioxide in the first place? The answer lies in presentation. Consumers often judge beverages by appearance. A cloudy tea may look unappetizing, even though cloudiness is perfectly natural. Titanium dioxide clears up the drink, making it visually appealing. It can also make flavored milk teas or fruit-infused teas look smoother and more consistent, enhancing shelf appeal. Essentially, it's not for your health, it's for marketing. The problem is that marketing-driven additives rarely align with long-term well-being. Health experts who study food chemicals argue that titanium dioxide isn't immediately toxic. It won't make you sick tomorrow. The concern is accumulation. Nanoparticles of this compound can enter the bloodstream, cross biological barriers, and potentially interfere with how cells replicate. Over years, that could elevate risks of inflammation, immune disruption, or cancers.
You don't know if something says artificial flavor or artificial color. So we talked about some of them. What kind of products typically include titanium dioxide? Is there any research about how safe or not safe this is to eat?
Yeah, it's a whole series of different products. So things like chewing gum and sauces and dressings, lots of cakes and baked goods. But I think one of the concerns is a lot of the products that are in are the ones that children tend to eat more than adults. Yeah, I mean, I would recommend that we do label titanium dioxide on all products, and then at least people have they can make their choice themselves. I think, like in the European Union, they banned it because I think they've got this precautionary principle.
Laboratory studies on animals suggest links to intestinal damage and DNA changes. While human data is still debated, the fact that Europe banned it reflects a precautionary approach, better safe than sorry. But in countries without such bans, consumers are left vulnerable, unknowingly drinking compounds that some regulators consider unacceptable. This isn't just about tea. Titanium dioxide is widely used in candies, chewing gums, sauces, and even medications. But bottled teas hit especially hard because they are marketed under the guise of health and wellness. People switching from sugary sodas to bottled teas might believe they've upgraded their diet only to be blindsided by hidden chemicals. That betrayal of trust makes Musk's supposed warning carry weight. For years, he has positioned himself as someone who challenges mainstream narratives, whether in technology, finance, or health. By calling out bottled teas, he's amplifying a message that health advocates have quietly been sounding for years. So, which bottled teas are implicated? While brand names vary across markets, many mass-produced iced teas and sweetened herbal blends have been flagged for using titanium dioxide in their coloring processes. Fruit-flavored teas, milk teas, and those with smooth finishes are particularly likely to contain it. Independent lab tests on consumer beverages have detected E171 in popular brands sold in supermarkets across the US and Asia. It's not always listed prominently on labels, sometimes buried under vague terms like color added or artificial additives. That lack of transparency is part of what has enraged health-conscious consumers. Musk's warning shines a spotlight on an industry that relies on the fact that most people don't scrutinize ingredient lists on drinks they perceive as healthy. The backlash against titanium dioxide also reflects a broader consumer awakening. Just as people now question high-fructose corn syrup, trans fats, and artificial dyes, titanium dioxide is quickly becoming the next red flag additive. In France, researchers have linked long-term exposure to increased inflammation in the gut. In other European studies, concerns about genotoxicity, the potential to damage genetic material, were strong enough to justify its ban. Meanwhile, many companies in the US still insist their products are safe under FDA guidelines. That regulatory gap leaves consumers in limbo, caught between scientific warnings and corporate reassurances. The bottled tea issue also underscores a painful truth: even products branded as natural or wellness-focused can be compromised for the sake of visual appeal and profit. If a company is willing to put an industrial whitening agent in something as simple as tea, what else are they hiding behind the marketing gloss? That question fuels the distrust many now feel toward food corporations. Musk's voice, amplified by his global influence, only accelerates the conversation. Critics argue that blaming bottled teas alone oversimplifies the issue. After all, titanium dioxide is not exclusive to this beverage category. Yet it's hard to ignore that bottled teas carry an extra sting of irony. Tea, historically celebrated for health benefits, has been hijacked by the processed beverage industry and stripped of its purity. What began as a natural infusion of leaves and water is now often a concoction of sugar, artificial flavors, preservatives, and, as it turns out, industrial chemicals. The fact that titanium dioxide is part of that mix shows how far the product has strayed from its roots.